it's time for the last Mango Flower Walkabout. So we're going to take a look at the back part of the property, look at the mango trees, see what's happening with them. So let's go. Right here is a lemon meringue. It's a pretty big tree and not much happening here. There's some flowers on the top on the other side of the tree, but nothing on this. This is the east side right here. But of course, we have lovely dwarf Hawaiian here, and it is just got flowers all over the place. Here's lemon zest. And you know, that branch up there is covered with flowers. That was the only branch that I didn't cut at the end of mango season 2020. We wanted to trim this tree back quite a bit, and I didn't want to, you know, like completely destroy the chances for you know, good crop next year in 2021, this year. But on this younger area here, this part that was trimmed back, we actually do have some flowers. So there's a flower emerging. So hopefully we'll get flowers all in this lower tier of the tree, and then have like 2 seasons. So that would be great if it happened. Here's elephant. A lot of flowers in this one area here. This, of course, is the south side of the tree. This is a cherry tree, nice bloom on that. As, you know, the elephant has some flowers on the west side here, and then also on the top. So it's possible that the entire tree will eventually have flowers, but right now it's sort of the areas that get the most sun. And here we have chakanan, and there are a lot of flowers on chakanan. And you'll notice that the panicles here are different. There's the red stem here, and the chakanan panicles are all green stemmed. This is actually another variety. It's 015, which is the ZIL replacement for Jakarta. It's supposed to be a variety that does better in most locations than the Jakarta does. So looks like we'll get a little bit of fruit at least from this 015. Here's cogsall. And you know, on the north side of the tree we have quite a few flowers up top. And yeah, definitely looking better on the very top of the tree, and some emerging flowers on the south side of the tree. So that's pretty young, and this one looks like a flower bud right there. As you might know from previous videos, we have planted mango trees in between the lychee trees. So right now their root systems aren't great because they were very pot bound in 1 gallon pots, and so it'll take a little while for that root system to really get established in these areas, but that is a future top work project. Here's another area that's fairly recent as far as adding mango trees to it. You know, this is a very recent addition. I figured we had room for one more. Black sapote, we're hoping to get fruit on that soon. This is a grafted black sapote. This particular tree does not have any fruit, or I mean no bloom on it yet, so hopefully we'll get bloom on it this year. I don't remember what variety this is, so it'd be very helpful to have fruit. This is another variety that I don't know what it is. The tag was lost. It was grafted. Looks like this was probably where the graft was. So that's one that we grafted ourselves. We were doing some higher grafts a few years back. So we'll get to see what variety this is, it looks like. You know, we've got a few that are not flowering, and this one that is just making a spectacle of itself is Phoenix. So Phoenix is really having a good year all over the grove. This is a variety. I top worked this tree. See if we can see some of the graft. There's the graft right there, and then I put this little one on that shoot. This part died back, but anyway, this is all grafted. It should flower this year, but there's no evidence of flowers yet. Here are some formerly very large mango trees. They had gotten way out of control, so I cut them way back and I'm top working. So hopefully we'll get fruit at a more reasonable height soon. This one is not completely top worked, but probably about 80%. Here's our pickering, and we have blooms coming out in many places, but it's not completely covered with bloom yet. But pickering's very reliable, very productive, so I'm expecting a lot more bloom out of this tree. Here's another tree that was entirely too close to pickering, so I've actually started grafting cotton candy on this after we cut it way back. So hopefully we'll have another source of cotton candy fruit. These are just some seedlings from that tree. We didn't plant them there, but I will top work them at some point. This is another project tree. Right next to it is Jakarta, which has a ton of bloom. And what I'm doing with this particular tree is that I'm grafting scions from the seedlings that are underneath this tree. This is one I have to wait on a little bit to harvest scions on. Those are too young, but there's another seedling there, and then there's a pretty big one over on this side. Right here. So none of these have fruited yet. The seedlings, of course, this is the biggest one. But like taking scions from those particular trees and grafting them onto an existing root system will speed it along. We should get fruit in a few years from those, and hopefully it'll be interesting fruit. Jakarta is a great fruit, but you never know if you'll get something better or not quite as good when you fruit out a seedling. So we have longan and lychee here, so that's doesn't have anything to do with mango flowers right now. They're waiting for their last treatment. The white dots are the sulfur that was sprayed on the trees for the lychee arenos mite. This area, on the other side of the fence, there used to be a large ficus hedge, so I didn't plant here for a long time. But after the church took out the ficus hedge, I thought it'd be a good place to plant. So these trees, this is Julie, and of course Julie's going crazy. And then we have a kit mango that is on a dwarfing rootstock, and that's almost the same size as the Julie, but not as many flowers, but there are quite a few anyway. Just backing up slightly here, you know, this was just planted, you know, these were mostly seeds planted in the sand here, and so the idea was to get them established. So this is still a seedling, but this one here, I have grafted a seedling scion on it. So it was I know it was an interesting seed that I had planted in that particular area, but the tag was lost. So that will be like a little surprise whenever it does fruit. But all these other seedlings, I'll top work them eventually. Hopefully before next mango season, that would be lovely. This is our mango hedge, and so far there's not a lot of flowers going on here. Sort of on the top back side of this tree, we've got some flowers. That's Maha Chinook. And this particular tree is Honey Kiss. Quite a few flowers there. And then this one has a lot of flowers, and I have forgotten what variety that is. It's been a long time since picking the fruit on that tree, so I definitely have to get these marked better next year. So no flowers there or here. I think this one might be Jakarta, as I recall. And yeah, we're definitely getting into more flowers in this area. We've got, I know we have Dot in here, and not sure what else. Anyway, about half of the mango hedge here is flowering. But let's take a look back over here. We'll just make a loop. Right here is Namdak Mai, making a spectacle of itself. Just lots of flowers. Over here is Sunrise, and we've got flowers on the top part of the tree, but not yet on the sides. Here's Malika, even the tall branch here. We've been trying to take large branches out every year, but not cut the whole tree back. So it's going to take a few years to make this smaller. Anyway, Malika in the back here has a lot of flowers. In the front, we didn't have that many flowers. This is Duncan, and looks like it's got a fair amount of flowers. Certainly not every branch tip has flowers, but there's pretty many. This is a fruit punch, and it's a little bit in the shade, so that might be part of the reason that we're not getting as many flowers on this part of the tree. This is looking much nicer over here. Fruit punch again, or still. And right next door, this is Ugly Betty. Oh, no, it's not. This is Angie. Ugly Betty was behind it and not flowering, but this is Angie, and it has flowers. Here we have Kit Mango. And so far, I am not seeing flowers on this particular tree. And we've got, in this side of the shade house is the west side. I planted a lot of mango trees for windscreen because we used to have potted plants on the ground cloth right behind the trees. And they got really big. Not only did they have water from the plants, the potted plants that were on the ground cloth, but they also get water from the shade house. Even though I don't water the shade house that much, it still was enough to make these plants really happy. So most of what I have in this area, I have cut way back, and I'm either going to try and keep them small with the same variety or top work them. So there's just a lot of transitional trees in this area. Here's Mango Baptiste, And even though it's sort of a scraggly looking tree right now, there are a fair amount of flowers. Here's a tree that had gotten really large. Original variety is Zebda from Egypt, and I had put Best on some of the tree, and Best was very happy here. So now what I'm doing is I'm waiting for this to sprout out. We cut back some major branches here, waiting for that to sprout out because it's a sort of a gentle area for it. And then I'm going to cut back the rest of the tree. You know, take off this branch down here and then this other one in the back. I'll probably top work a variety onto some of those shoots and keep Zebda on other parts of the tree. Here's a tree that I top worked to Carry. So everything you see is Carry mango. And it's pretty much not a lot of flowers going on right now. There's some right up here in the southwest part of the tree. This is a confused tree, I guess. It was a test pollock, and I decided to put Bombay on it, and then I got a little bit overwhelmed by the vigor of Bombay, so I've been cutting the Bombay back, and so I'll probably top work it to a different variety that doesn't get quite as large, because you know, this is really big and also very close to these other trees. You know, it definitely needs a compact variety that's on this root system. The roots, anything that I put on here will grow very fast. So it'd be good to put something that's not known for its vigor. But this seedling here is probably a test pollock seedling, so that might be an interesting one to take a scion from and put on another tree. You know, these are probably test pollock seedlings also, and I've already put one scion from that tree on here, and apparently it's growing. So I'll probably do that in other parts of this tree too, so that we'll have a sort of a long-term project where at least 4 branches will be, you know, other varieties, you know, that we're waiting on them to bloom, kind of thing. Over here we have Edward, and lots of bloom on Edward. This little stump here I top worked to Angie, and right now I'm thinking that I might put something else on it, but not right away because it's got a lot of shade going on right now. So I sort of would like to have the weight of the fruit pulling down some of those branches so that this would get a little bit more sunshine. This is Kit Mango, and it looks like we've got some flowers, just a few right now, but some on the top of the tree mostly. Here's Jacqueline. Lots of flowers on Jacqueline. So that's a lovely thing. Rather popular fruit, but it's actually not widely grown. And this is Venus. Walter Zill actually gave me this plant a long time ago, and it's got pretty many flowers on it. So hopefully we'll get a good Venus here. But then we have this last part of the tour, which for me is one of the more interesting parts of the grove. It's not at its most interesting point now. But starting with this tree, you can see the leaves are quite a bit different from the neighbor tree here. This I think is a Carry tree. But this is all part of a 2015 experiment. And so a lot of these trees have not ever flowered. These first ones have not flowered. And then we have Yeah, so we have 3 that have not yet flowered, but this one actually fruited last year, and I'm hoping that it flowers and fruits again this year. But right now I'm not seeing any flowers. This is another, you know, a bunch of them have never fruited or never flowered. So it's like another 5 here. But then this is fun. This is a first time flowering kind of situation. So we've got one more tree that's going to be brand new fruit for us. More that we're hoping will flower. Don't know if they will or not. Yeah, this area is sweet tart. I'm very confident that we will get flowers from these trees, but hasn't happened yet. I'm working in this area as far as trying to get scions from every single tree, be it a seedling of this original trees or the original trees themselves. So here is one of those project areas. I'm grafting scions onto the shoots of that. But this right here, I doubt this is the first time it has flowered, but it has quite a few flowers on it. This is coming from this tree right here. And actually, that is, this is an old project tree. I hadn't looked carefully at this. This rather large trunk here, I waited for the shoots to sprout out and then I grafted onto them. So that is actually coming from this particular branch, and I don't know what variety that was. You can see I had marked some of these, but that, whatever was marking that was just probably outgrown. This is rather large circumference of that particular branch. So anyway, we'll get to see what I grafted onto this. It looks like we could get a fair amount of fruit. You know, last year we had a pretty good crop of best, and that's our very last tree here. And it looks like we've got some flowers emerging on best. Not a ton, especially on the top of the tree. We've been seeing a lot of flowers in the grove on the tops of trees, and this one doesn't look like it has it. It has, the lower down areas seem to have more flowers. You know, I'm not complaining about that, but it's just unusual. These other 2 trees here, these are southern blush, and we really don't get fruit from them because the neighbors have these huge trees and it blocks out the sun. Mangoes don't really like to be in shade, so that's just the way it is. So here we have a tree. It was originally all Kensington Pride, and I have cut back that because it was getting really large. So we won't get fruit from Kensington Pride this year. And I don't think we'll get flowers or fruit. But this other part of the tree, the smaller branch, I top worked to himcigar. I understand that this particular himcigar is not really the himcigar, that the real himcigar is a more round fruit. It's very good though, definitely worth growing. And so I have a lot of himcigar, and right here we have a few flowers. So hopefully the rest of the tree will catch on and start flowering. Right here, this is just beautiful, Nam Dak Mai. And as you can tell, there's just one tall branch. This was getting way too tall. So I left one tall branch and cut back a major part of the tree. And right now it's at a pretty good stage to graft onto these shoots. I just am sort of haven't quite decided what to graft on. So what variety to use. So that's why this is so, you know, like still in progress. Here's a tree. This was a seedling of Mogoba that had been twisted in Hurricane Wilma, and so the bark had come off of the, you know, like had rips in it and such, separated from the rest of the tree. So cut it back to good wood, and all of this area here is Juliet. So the lower part is Juliet, and it's looking nice. This was just another seedling, and it was rather tall and straight, so I thought I could get away with grafting something on it. This is Siatong that I grafted on this little sapling or seedling, whatever, and I think that Siatong will work out okay here because it has a rather upright growth habit. I have the option also to tie this back to one of the other trees to make it more upright. We use this path a lot with all sorts of vehicles, so I don't want it to lean too far in. No flowers yet, but it's looking good. This tree trunk, this was a pretty good variety, but it wasn't a great variety. Another seedling of Mogoba. So we cut this back a few years back, and everything that you see on all the growth that's on this trunk is orange sherbet. Now, I was really hoping for orange sherbet this year, but it doesn't look like this particular tree is coming through for us. You know, it's got some of those shoots are pretty darn high, you know, like 6 feet tall, but I don't see any flowers on this tree. So orange sherbet's just one of those really nice varieties that I wish that we would have fruit on, but this is so far not promising. Here's Mogoba, and right now this is the west side of Mogoba. If there, you know, it should be the prime place for flowers, but I'm not seeing any. You know, the flowering season's not over yet, but so far, no flowers on Mogoba. But then we walk over here, and this is just lovely. This is Rosy Gold, and there is a lot of bloom on Rosy Gold. You know, some people get Rosy Gold fruit in March. Even though we have bloom now, I'm not thinking March is going to be the time we see fruit, but it does seem to flower easily. Next door to it is one of our lemon meringue trees, and this is contrast to most of the lemon meringue trees that we have in the grove. Lots of flowers on this tree, so location is important. Got, yeah, south side's got lots of bloom and emerging bloom. Then right here is this coconut cream. It's sort of a forgotten tree a lot of times because, you know, it's sort of small and whatever, but it has a lot of bloom, so hopefully we'll get some fruit from this tree. I think last year we got a couple fruit, but this year it looks like it's ready to make more. So we have, I think, one more mango tree here. This is Valencia Pride, and this is a lot different from our other Valencia Pride. You know, it's just tons and tons of flowers. So this is probably the scraggliest of our Valencia Pride, but sometimes that's a good thing. If it's not making a lot of leaves, it has it's in a better stage to make flowers. So just, you know, lots of flowers, hopefully lots of fruit. So that's a quick look at our mango trees in the back. You know, we have some really fun situations, couple of possible first-time fruiters, and some nice flowers on a lot of the trees. So anyway, we hope that the trees that aren't flowering now start flowering soon, and that 2021 is a great mango season all over the grove.